Pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please stand for a moment. John, take your hand off. In remembrance of Jerry Charlo, who was a former supervisor for the Massena Fire Department and a former volunteer of the Massena Volunteer Fire Department, who passed away this week. Thank you. I'd like to call the July 19th, 2011 meeting to order. Do I hear a motion?
To what?
To nothing yet.
I'll be happy to when you're ready though.
It's going to be one of those meetings.
I've already
Make a
said the,
Make a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes from June 21st.
I will make a motion to approve them as submitted.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Or do I separate?
No, it's,
Okay, thank you. I'd like to open at this time the public hearing.
I would like to make a motion that I enter into a public hearing to discuss the handicap parking spaces on Park Avenue.
Second. Roll call. Ms. Wilson.
Aye. We just have a just say aye.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Let me get that here. This is a public hearing to establish or designate handicap parking space on Park Avenue. And Ms. Wilson, being on the
Yeah, as a,
street.
sure thing. As a member of the street committee, it's come up, the triad group primarily has been spearheading around the community where there is an opportunity to improve handicap access for our businesses. And one of the areas that have been recommended in the past that we had discussed, we reviewed, and we had decided not to act on at that time was brought back up, and we think we reached a compromise position. Originally, the thought was, do we have to have the full width van accessible handicap spots and take essentially what would equal close to 4 regular parking spots out of a very busy area? We're talking in front of Coach's Corner and the diner that's next door. Greg looked into it since then, and we do not need to have it van accessible. We can so designate spaces to be handicap accessible. So for those residents who aren't, using wheelchairs but are otherwise handicapped, they would have the option to have those parking spaces. So, and rather than designating spaces in front of the individual businesses, the compromise position that we're presenting tonight is to make 2 spaces available essentially between the 2 properties, right in the middle of that parking area on that side of the street. So that's where we are to amend it to add the handicap parking spaces. They've been designated based by the number of feet west of the center line of Liberty and ending at 210 feet, beginning at 190 feet.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comment? Do we have any public comment?
Yeah.
Sir? Can I just state your name?
Jeff Reifensnyder, Director of the Independent Living Center, member of Triad.
Sure.
Should I go to the microphone?
If you'd like, yeah. If you'd please.
Okay,
Just that deep voice, we cannot hear you.
yeah, you can probably hear me. We took a look at that location, this issue, way back when. I know there was some issue about whether or not the businesses were accessible and whether spots were required. That's not an issue. It's not a chicken or the egg thing. What we'd recommend, we did a drawing, and we did come up with something similar to yours, which was to place that in the middle of that parking area. But we suggested 2 spots with a shared access aisle. with the van accessible access aisle. We also looked across the street, but I don't think that the opposite side of that parking serves any business. It's just, anyways, I have this, and I'll share it with anybody, you know, if you want it. It lists what the requirements are about curb cuts and where they need to be placed. So, if you want it, I'll give it to
Because one
you.
of the things that, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, one of the things that we ran up against last year, and to you just made mention of it, that the two businesses located there are not ramp accessible, they're stairs to
Yeah.
access.
Yet
So-
is the operative word,
Yeah, yeah.
so, that's coming.
No. And we can, I mean, one of the things that we can do for now is do the 2 spaces when the handicap accessibility for the front of the buildings. I mean, personally, I think it would almost be a mistake to indicate that this is an opportune location for somebody in a handicap van to get up, they're gonna get on the sidewalk and have no access.
I think that personally assumes a little bit that people are gonna pull up and not be able to see that that's not accessible. My position would be somebody rolling up to the front of one of those businesses in a wheelchair might send a message as loud as any letter or thing we can do. I like the idea of the van access thing, cause as I said, it's common. Independent Living Center, we're kind of charged with America's Disability Act compliance in the North Country. So we do what we can do as fast as we can do it. So I have this, it's our recommendation, you can do as you wish with it. And I guess the last thing I would say, and it's on behalf of Triad, you know, the Triad is people and senior citizens, and the one issue we definitely share in common is our usage of handicap parking when we need it. It is an important issue to them, it's an important issue to us, should be an important issue to the town, and tonight, bringing this on the agenda shows that it is, and we appreciate it. So, maybe I'll
If you
get
would,
this
I'd like to share that with,
Barry, you would like a copy of it?
yeah, please.
You can have this. Great. Thanks.
Thank you, Jeff, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Any more public hearing at all? No? Okay, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. At this point in time, I would ask that, do we want to adopt the local law? Any discussions on that?
Well, there could certainly be an opportunity in the future to follow the recommendation of the Independent Living Center. We have a local law opportunity right now before us that I'd like to go ahead and act on now so that we can get that done. And we can always revisit it and add the additional space and the curb cuts and so on as we move forward. So I would like to make a motion that we approve the local law as presented.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. I'm sorry. Mr. Carver? Aye. Mr. DeShays? Aye. I vote aye.
Aye.
Ms. Wilson? Motion carries. Thank you.
And thank you for bringing your suggestions.
Okay.
No, we're good, 5:40.
Oh, 4:40.
I
Okay.
planned that right.
You did, that's unbelievable. Closing under 3, open under 4.
I'd like to make a motion that we enter into a public hearing to discuss parking on Maple Street between Irwin and Hospital Drive.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. This is obviously a public hearing on, to amend the no parking designation on Maple Street to allow parking between Irwin Avenue and Hospital Drive. I believe it's on the north side.
Correct.
And this is at the request of, we've had some investigation here, I think, discussion with the church, I believe, also. Would you like to fill us in on that also, or?
And I don't have a lot of additional details to what you said, but the history was that, and Haas, please correct me if I'm wrong, but prior to the improvement project that included Maple Street, there was parking available in this location, and it was utilized by the church.
Right.
And it's been deemed to still be safe, both by the DOT feedback and, you know, Haas looked at it. It's wide enough to still accommodate, it's probably wider than it was before to accommodate the extra parking. So essentially, we're just taking, when they finished the project, they put up no parking signs.
Right.
Where there used to be parking allowed. So essentially, we're taking what the DOT designated as no parking, we're changing that to allow this portion of Maple Street to have parking again.
Haas, do you have anything to add to that?
No, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think with the advent of the new street, that the curbs were built back up, and that sort of thing. Any public comment on this? Yes, ma'am.
Doris Robinson, that's a very good idea to let them have that parking area
Thank you, Doug.
for the service.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? I'd like to close the public hearing.
So moved?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And I'd just like to say one of the things that, because I have, you know, it's so much nicer to drive down Maple Street now that the project is complete, that I haven't, there are spots on Maple Street that will not accommodate parking on the street anymore. But this spot, it would be safe to do so. I think it's a